You're operating from survival mode instead of thinking long term.
Maybe you get that upfront cash, but it ends up being a disaster.
Sucking your soul dry.
Yeah, it pushed me, it forced me to make a decision.
When you go skydiving and it's like everything feels so scary in the plane ride up, and then you jump out and it's like,
actually do it.
If I die, I die, so might as well enjoy the ride down.
The next morning I put in my 3 weeks and...
Welcome to the Harmonized Entrepreneur podcast, where we talk to small business owners about the challenges, the stories, and the lessons that they picked up along their journey. Okay. Lexi.
Branden.
My beautiful business partner and wife. This is our first ever podcast.
I know, I'm excited.
Pretty exciting. We're going to talk about lots of things today. We're going to talk about our journey. We're going to talk about our journey as partners, our journey over the last year and a half of starting our business, some of the things that we've learned along the way, some of the mistakes that we've made. There have been a good number of those. Yeah. I'd love to start off with just asking you to share a little bit about who you are and how you ended up here doing what you're doing today.
Okay. Well, to not go all the way back, last year I was working for a nonprofit in Montgomery County, so in the area, and you were getting started with video.
What'd you do before the nonprofit, just so the people know?
Before the nonprofit, I was working for a finance company as an analyst. So I did that for a year after college. And then I was going to move here to be with you.
Aww.
And I did not want to continue with that position. So I left it, and that's when I found a part-time job.
Well, I want to touch on that for a second. Like, because you experienced corporate America, and now you're in the polar opposite of corporate America.
I wanted the complete opposite.
What was it that originally, because our audience is small business owners who either have been in corporate America and left or never wanted anything to do with it. So what was your experience in corporate America like, and why'd you want to leave?
Well, there were multiple different things. So one of them was we were doing remote work. That did not change in my other position, but being in a remote position, working with a team that I didn't feel connected to, that was a big reason that I ended up leaving, because I think just being in that environment, I just didn't feel connected to it. I was traveling all around the country and just working behind my computer, not talking to anyone all day long, and it just felt very isolating. So leaving that position and then working for the nonprofit, it was just me and one other employee, and it was really us running the show. So that gave me a taste of what it felt like to kind of run my own business. So
the nonprofit, even though it was still a small team, but you were managing a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I was managing 130 volunteers, and then we had donors and recipients, and together that totaled to be about 100 to 150 different contacts. So our volunteers were doing food deliveries all around the county. So I was just talking with people all day long and coordinating deliveries for people in need. So.
Okay. And so why in the world did you leave the nonprofit world to now join a small business?
So that was never a permanent solution for me. I mean, that was something that I found that was a great position for me to just step into temporarily, to do something for the community and to really find what I was going to do next. Because my dream was always to have my own business and be a business owner.
What kind of business did you want to own when you were a little girl?
Whenever I was a little girl, I wanted to own an ice cream shop. Yeah, along with being Cinderella at Disney World. So, I mean...
And you want to own an ice cream shop in Greece, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Maybe open a dance studio. I danced for 18 years of my life, so it was always... I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I just thought the door would eventually open up, or I would have just something come into my life to where it was like clear that was it. But yeah, working in the nonprofit gave me a taste of what that was like, and I trained everyone that came on to work with a nonprofit, which I really enjoyed, and then I left there just feeling like my job was finished and that my time had ended. And it was a great position moving here to the area, getting to know the area very well and get to know the people in the community, because before I knew nothing about Montgomery County, and then I knew everything about all the schools, the highway system, and it was a great introduction to the Woodlands.
Okay, so you served your time there, you felt your job was complete, and then...
And I guess I also, the role did consist of being available pretty much every day of the year and every morning, so it was really having to be
prepared
on
you
all the
very
time.
well to be in a small business.
Yeah, it did.
When you're always on the clock, as I'm sure many people can relate to.
Yeah, but it helps to balance it with a partner like you. Yeah.
Oh. So what ultimately, what led you to saying, all right, I want to go on this journey with Branden and work with him full time at his business?
Well, I feel like it wasn't really a decision on it was a decision on my part.
I kind of was like, Lexi, please, I need help right now.
Yeah. It was on the drive down to Galveston to...
And give them some context, like what time frame are we talking about here?
That was September of 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were getting really busy.
I was.
You took on a ton of clients, and I don't really know if I talked to you for like a week. You were just on your computer for like a straight week.
Yeah.
And
for context, I started Harmony Marketing, my business, in June of 2024. And at that time, I was just doing video projects for various small businesses, just trying to figure stuff out. And I was working on and off with our now team member, Adrian. But I was just overloading myself just so I could make it by. And so at that point, in September, I had been fortunate enough to sell a number of sizable projects or decent, good projects. But I didn't really think of how was I going to do all these? I was more in survival mode than anything at that point. So I sold a bunch of projects, and then I was like, shoot, I need help ASAP.
yeah.
So then Lexi enters the picture.
So then I enter the picture, and I did not know how it was going to go.
And you were already
Leaving
kind
my
of thinking about whatever your next step was going to be at that point, right?
Yes, I was already looking around just to see what was available, because I knew, being in the role as an analyst, I knew I didn't want to be there forever. So I was like, it's time to make a change then. And then working for the nonprofit, it was a temporary solution to not have the corporate job, but to also still be able to make money while being on the search for what was next. But my time was up there. I just felt ready to move on. Didn't have the right opening come across yet. So yeah, it was the drive down to Galveston, and we were talking or throwing around the idea of me coming on, and it being soon. You're put in your 2 weeks next week or whatever. And I couldn't put in a 2 weeks. I didn't want to leave the nonprofit that I was working for hanging. So I put in my 3 weeks notice, I think 5 days later, because we went to a Hozier concert. And then that night I was like, okay, they were about to purchase something for me. And I was like, I don't want to have them make this purchase. So it really it forced me to make a decision. And the next morning I put in my 3 weeks, and I think just the affirmation of just how I felt putting in my 3 weeks and knowing that I was going to be coming on with you, I wasn't scared.
Really?
Whenever we were
it's
first
like when you
talking
jump
about
out of
it,
a plane when you go skydiving, and it's everything feels so scary in the plane ride up, and then you jump out
until
and it's
you actually do it.
if I die, I die, so might as well enjoy the ride down.
Yeah, pretty much. It's I already made up my mind, and I have a big thing about maybe not looking back, but no regrets. I think whenever I love my finance position, I had a little bit of looking back, did I make the right decision? Because I just left that all in the rear view. But I don't have any regrets. I feel like it all just happened in divine timing. And then coming on with you, it was like, we're just going to take it day by day, because everyone that I told was like, I'm praying for you. I could never work with my significant other. And I was like, okay, good to know. But our relationship's just, it's different. And I think we both are really good at listening to each other and resolving issues that come up or disagreements. So
maybe before we continue on the business side of things, to let people look a little bit into our life and our dynamic, like how would you describe the relationship that we have that, you know, set the stage for us to have a successful like business partnership in marriage? Like, just what are some of the things that you think make our relationship uniquely strong and healthy?
I think we're a great balance. I think where you're very, like, your strong suits complement my strong suits.
I agree.
And like our weaknesses are also, they're complementary. I think you're a great listener. So whenever, you know, I think something should be done this way, or we're just not agreeing on something, you're really good at just being patient and hearing me out and giving me my time to just think through things, and just being really patient, even though running a business can be very chaotic. And then, just being super receptive to, because one thing is, so you're very different in business than you are in personal
Lexi
life.
says I have two sides to myself.
Golden retriever at home and like pit bull at work.
Yeah, literally. Like, like a dog in business, and then just can't stop loving on you and kissing your cheek and telling you how pretty you are.
Yeah. So whenever I get the pit bull tone at work, I'm like, okay, where's my golden retriever?
Yeah.
So
that's definitely been a learning journey of learning how to, I guess, communicate in a business setting without letting business come before the relationship.
And not getting, taking that feedback just very well. So, it's a very unique relationship, I guess, or, you know, just dynamic whenever you're working with your significant other and business. So.
Well, I feel like there's some value to be unpacked in that. So over the last year of like us working together as a couple, do you feel like, you know, to somebody who's maybe considering exploring that idea, working with their significant other, any like advice that you would give to them?
I would say if you know your partner well enough and know that they're going to hear you out and that you will do the same for them, and you both are just receptive, good listeners, and just want the best for each other and yourself, you will succeed. But I think if your default is to not resolve issues, I think that is sometimes where people stand, or they're just stubborn in their ways and not receptive to change, then, you know, maybe you don't run a business together. But I think I've been loving it so far, and I think we've grown a lot in our personal relationship, just like our marriage now, outside of business, be like through working together. And I like look at other couples, I'm like, how do y'all not work together? Like, how do y'all not spend every second together? I think it's fun. I think it's fun
too. I feel like patience and listening are the big two for me and for both of us. And I think patience is probably one of the things, if not the number one thing, that I admire most about you. And I feel like that we both do really well is like slowing down, not getting super worked up about things that really don't matter. I think one of the things that I've taught you, or that you've taught me, rather, that's really stuck with me is, I think it's your grandmother's saying, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, it doesn't matter now. Is that hers?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that is a quote that I've
But
shared.
I really like that one. I keep that in the forefront of my mind. And it's like if we start, if tension rises for whatever reason, it's like, does this actually matter in 5 years? No, probably not.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just actively, you know, never seeking to be right, but seeking truth.
Yeah.
And seeking like finding common ground.
Like objectively, what is the best way forward here?
Yes. And let me put like the emotions aside. And like, I feel like whenever you try to be right, you're setting yourself up to lose every time, because it just like everything becomes an argument, and then it's just a battle of the ego.
And then, yeah, I think it's important to just laugh it off too. Like whenever you're like, wow, I've been so wrong, you know, like you find the truth and it's like, oh, I was so, like, it's just laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know, like life is not that serious. And then I think if all else fails, forgiveness and gratitude. Just forgive yourself, forgive your partner, because we all make mistakes and say things that we don't mean. And then just gratitude. Like I have so much gratitude to be able to do what we do. And especially coming from a corporate job and having done that for, it was only a year and a half, but it felt like so much longer. I felt like it was, like that was going to be my life if I didn't find something else and that I would fit into and still enjoy. But, because I enjoyed the work in that, but it was just still draining at the end of the day. So,
So can you, I think that's a really good segue. You mentioned now you really love what we do. How would you describe to somebody who's never heard of us, like, what is it that we do and why do you love it?
Well, I feel like now I do a lot of different things.
I think it's
my
helpful
role
to know.
My role has evolved, but yeah.
Well, what do we do and then what do you do?
Yeah. Okay, well, what do? We build video-powered marketing systems.
Sounds very fancy.
Yeah. We have been working for many different types of clients, but we're just now starting to niche down. And I came on more as a client success manager, but then also, of course, taking care of the finances with the background that I have there, and then the administrative things. So, and just being your backup, like anything you needed, that's how I got started, was like, okay, I can manage the video editing process and do all of these other things while you focus on the fulfillment aspects that I could not. So I think starting out, I mean, it was just you and me. It was all sorts of things, but now...
Literally everything. Everything that needed to be done in the business that I couldn't get to, like, was on you. And we still had, like, you've been the operations queen from day one.
Yeah.
So, like, you've got, the way I kind of think about it is we both have our on the business roles and our in the business roles.
Yeah.
And your in the business roles are like client success manager, mainly.
I think, so starting out, it was way more in the business. We were both very much in the business. But now that we're a team of 4, it's been it's been exciting in that focusing on the business things and then in the business things together in the same day. It's like moving the needle forward here for our clients, but then also moving the needle forward for the overall business. It's been, that has been evolving now that we're a team of 4.
Do you have any, I guess, like anything you would say to small business owners that maybe have a tendency of putting off the on the business stuff? Because I feel like only recently we've really made it a priority to make time for the on the business stuff, because it can be so easy to just keep putting that off, because it's working on the business can feel not urgent, even though you know it needs to get done at some point, but it's so easy to put last on the priority list and just like keep pushing it to tomorrow.
So I think if we would have been working on the business type things last year, whenever we had a lot of client fulfillment things and we were still so new to running a business,
probably would have crashed and burned.
It probably wouldn't have done anything for us because we didn't know what to even focus on. But I think through just trial by fire, not really knowing much, but I mean, listening to podcasts, learning from other entrepreneurs, of course, but we've had teachings present themselves in books and things that have recently made it very clear what on the business activities we need to be doing. And so I think if we had just been like, okay, we're going to carve out this time to work on the business things, not having any guidelines like the ones that we found over the course of this year, we would have been very lost. And I think that's why we didn't do it. We didn't have those resources, and they just weren't clear to us at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and too, at the time, we wouldn't know why they were so important. But then whenever we had, for example, EOS is something that we've started implementing. And Can
you give the people a 30-second elevator pitch on what EOS is?
Could you?
Sure. So EOS stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. And basically the way I see it is it's a set of frameworks and principles and tools and daily, weekly, monthly practices that a business can implement to gain clarity on their long-term vision and mission so that they can give their daily, monthly, weekly actions purpose and intention. And then, so everybody on the team is moving towards the long-term goal together. And then also it gives you the tools to implement accountability systems along the way so that everybody has ownership over their place within the business. And then not only do we all know where we're going and are we going there, we're going in the same direction together, but we also can measure very clearly how, like, the rate at which everyone is progressing towards that greater vision.
Yeah.
So what impact would you say that's had on us recently?
I would say the accountability, I was just shaking my head. Like, that is probably the biggest thing that has pushed us forward is every week our Monday morning meetings coming back to the team to say, this is what I've done this past week to help us, for me to meet my goal that we're all aiming for, that's really going to lift up the whole team. Because if we're not each doing our part, the whole team suffers. So to have to come back after a week and tell your team I didn't do what I needed to do to help us reach this goal, that's really hard. It hurts.
It sucks.
It sucks. So, yeah, I think that accountability, we did not have that as much before. It was like, yeah, this needs to get done, or like, we would fly past it and just mention it. Like, yeah, I'm going to be working on this week, but not following up on it the next week and no one knowing where it stands. It allows you to get by without doing it and prioritize other things. Mm-hmm. And then you have your reasons as to why it didn't get done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually more of those on the business type things. It's not client fulfillment related necessarily. It's because that stuff will get done, but it's the things that will really, be better for everyone, better for the team, better for our clients, because for them, we just need to get them results. They are happy with results, and we can get them better results and have more time to focus on how to get them better results by improving our systems and these things that we are setting up our goals to making our goals around. So yeah, I think the accountability has really been a game changer, and having it be very clear of why we're doing the things that we're doing.
I think that's something that a lot of small business owners could take and really run with, which is running a small business involves lots of pain and lots of confusion and times where you just, like, you're spinning your wheels trying to figure out the next best thing to be spending your time on to actually move the business forward. And, as a small business owner, you're expected to kind of know the answers, and like people look to you for direction. And so just the point being, there's a lot of like gray areas and challenges running a small business. And so you really need to understand your why and have purpose behind what you're doing and know why you're doing it, or else you're just not going to withstand the pain required to build an actual lasting business. So I feel like EOS, that kind of system, really gives you the tools to help figure out what that vision and purpose is, but then the systems to actually follow through with it and not just get sidetracked. 'Cause it's so easy to like create a goal and create a nice mission statement, and then a week later just like veer off because you didn't really spend the time like digging into your why or setting up the accountability systems to like make sure that you actually follow that path all the way through,
right.
Anyways, EOS is great. Been loving that. Let's talk about some of the other lessons we've learned over the last year and a half in business, some of the mistakes we've made perhaps. So I want to touch on one of the biggest mistakes that I think any small business can make, which is bringing on the wrong clients, saying yes to the wrong people just because you think you need to say yes right now, maybe because of financial reasons. So can you run with that? What kind of effect do you see saying yes to the wrong people can have on a small business?
So I think every small business makes that mistake at one point or another and learns that lesson pretty quickly. But also, I think sometimes you can just keep making the mistake over and over until it really clicks.
Well, I think a deeply ingrained part of human nature is people are often willing to sacrifice their long-term sustainability for short-term pain relief. And so sometimes saying yes to the wrong client can get you that injection of cash that you need to make it through the next 2 weeks. And so you're operating from survival mode instead of thinking long-term. So anyways, back to you.
But whenever you do that, maybe you get that upfront cash, but it ends up being a disaster.
Sucking your soul dry.
And then in your team's energy. And it ends up actually costing your business money instead of making you money. And I think there's some red flags to look out for sure, whenever bringing on a client.
What would you say some of those are?
Business. I would say when there's a strong resistance from the client or the lead, if there is a strong resistance and you're really having to convince them of this is why it's going to work, all these case studies, why, we're going to get you results.
It's a hard sell.
It's a hard sell, and you're really having to show them and close the deal.
If you got to really, really work for the sale, maybe that's a good sign that it's just not a good fit.
Well, and I'm a strong believer, and this is why I don't do sales, that everyone should follow their intuition. And so if it's not feeling right for someone, then it's probably just not right for them. And
it's also, there's a balance there, because sometimes, sales is a whole game of, sometimes it genuinely is not a good fit, and so people are going to have resistance come up, and you need to be able to detect when that's the case, versus somebody just doesn't have enough information to make an informed, educated decision. And a lot of people especially in the marketing world, have terrible experiences with other marketing agencies who burn them, and so they assume, it's totally valid that they assume that because of bad past experiences, they're going to have a bad experience with you. And so sometimes you just need to educate them and overcome those, help them break down those limiting beliefs they have. But it's figuring out when that's the case versus no, this is actually a terrible fit, and they're going to suck your soul and your wallet.
And for marketing specifically, it's if clients have been burned in the past and they distrust marketing agencies, they know that they should be working with one, but they're highly resistant to working with you, it could still just be the best to part ways, because they're most likely going to be, again, the one that's just draining all of the energy and not, if there's just too much resistance. I know we had one sale recently where it took multiple calls, and then whenever it finally came to the invoice, the service agreement was signed and everything, but invoice was sent, and for whatever reason they were getting this error that they could not pay the invoice.
It was an act of God.
It was an act of God. I think it would have been, looking back, we both were I think that happened for a reason, because we are wanting to niche down, and the client just really needed proof that this was going to work for them. But in marketing, you can't promise that. We just don't know. The markets are different all around the U.S. So even if we promise, or we can show, not promise, we can show that we got results in one area, doesn't mean it's going to work for yours. And even if it's in the same industry. So anyways, that to say, I think looking at it, it was really a godsend. And we did not push to make sure that that invoice got paid. We were just like, you know what? This is an error that we've never seen before. We resent it a couple, maybe like one other time. It still was giving her an error and she wasn't able to pay it and she wanted proof. And we were like, you know, we could have used that. Like if that sale closed, it really would have helped our business. We really needed the sale, but
in the short term, but it would have probably really hurt us in the long term.
And we've learned our lesson at this point. And so, and whenever I think you're coming from a place of abundance, you know that, okay, this door is closing, but there's going to be another one that opens up. And I think what was so cool a couple weeks ago is we had a meeting to review our finances, and we were like, okay, we need to make X number of sales this month because our recurring is gone down some. And, you know, we're like, okay, well, it's December, notoriously
slowest month of the year.
Yeah,
terrible time to be in a sales pinch.
Right. And that same day, you're going to make your game plan for your networking, how we're going to make some sales, our own advertisement. And we had someone just book a call with you who found us, a referral, and then another call just booked on your calendar. Just random, like, people just coming in to our sphere needing marketing, and no effort on our part. It was just what we had done in the past, just getting our name out there, working and getting results for other clients. And that was just really cool, you know, having that clarity of where our business stood and then taking the action to get the results, but not even doing the things, and then having prospects come through the door. So it's, well, I was just going to add, I think it's pretty cool how I really do feel like God has had his hand on our business, because there's just been so many things that have happened with, I mean, just the people that have walked into our lives and joined the business in ways, like as a client, as a team member. I think it's like, it's just so clear that God has played a role in all of it and has opened the right doors, closed the wrong ones, and has taught us so many lessons to where we're like, okay, now we won't do that again.
Yes.
And, but to where they don't completely
destroy us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like a little knock, and then we get right back up.
I think to tie a bow on the last thing you were saying about like detecting red flags before saying yes to the wrong people, I think really the lesson to be drawn there is the beginning of the relationship is the best predictor for the rest of the relationship. Yeah. And if things like feel rocky and don't feel aligned from the beginning, they're probably not going to just change, you know, as you start working together. They're probably going to get worse or stay the same. So I think, just recognizing whenever, like if it's not a good person-to-person fit, like honestly, I would even go as far as to say, I don't want to do business with somebody that I couldn't be like friends with outside of business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to be working with, and I think this is a good general rule of thumb as a small business owner, where you are pretty intimately like connected with all of your clients. Like only choose to work with people that you'd want to hang out with. You know, and yeah, because if you're not aligned on a person-to-person level, that can just lead to so many downstream things. And then, it definitely does feel like God has had a hand on our business. I think one of my favorite sayings ever from one of our close friends, Justin Wiley, who is definitely going to be on this podcast soon.
Yeah.
That'll be a cool episode, is that we've always got more than enough.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have pretty close to zero, but it's always more than enough.
Yeah.
And I think like just operating from a mindset of abundance and recognizing that God's got it covered, even when it really doesn't feel like it. You know, a quote that I shared at our team meeting this morning and that I really like is that there is no such thing as an obstacle that is bigger than we are strong. We are capable of handling anything that comes our way. And there's a lot of big obstacles in the journey of running a small business. But the reality is, if you quit, it's not because the obstacle was too big. It's because the story you told yourself was that the obstacle was too big. And so as you quit, it's not the obstacle. Anyways, let's move on to another lesson that we've learned the hard way, which is never stop selling. So as a small business owner, I think this is one of the most common mistakes that people will make, which is, one of the most relatable things to small business owners is the feast and famine roller coaster, where, the status quo, the reality for the vast majority of small business owners out there, because they're really not putting many resources into marketing or advertising themselves, is going to local networking groups and is relying on referrals and word of mouth from their past clients. And it's very, those are very powerful sources of business. They're the easiest sales you'll ever make because trust is at an all-time high, but they are both inconsistent and unpredictable. And most small business owners rely on that. And so what that ends up resulting in is, and we've experienced it ourselves, because we didn't drink our own medicine, is experiencing an influx of business one month, getting super busy, stopping any sales generating activities to fulfill the business that we just sold, and then things feel really good, money's in the bank, team's busy, and then a few months down the line, oh shoot, we need business like right now, and it can sneak up on you quick. And so that happened to us this year. Literally in August, I was running a bunch of ads for our own business, or rather I was pouring a lot of money into ads and getting a great return. We're getting like effectively $6 back for every $1 that we put in. And it was great. Sold a bunch of clients in August, and then turned off all advertising because I'm like, oh crap, now I got to switch my attention to operations instead of sales. And then, things were great. And then all of a sudden, shoot. And so when you completely turn off that pipeline, then, obviously you're not generating anything new. And so when that time comes around where you eventually do need business, well, now you almost got to start from scratch again. Because the reality is, and I heard this on a Myron Golden podcast yesterday, is that everything is temporary. Good times are temporary. Bad times are temporary. Our ancestors that survived through the hardest winters are the ones that prepared for those winters and stocked up food during the summers when the times were good. And so it's just keeping in your mind, like knowing even though things are great right now and the business is making a ton of money, like it's not always going to be this way.
Well, and I think it's know your offer, because we did a lot of, whenever we made all those sales, paid in full for 90 days. And goes with what you just said is, you got to save up for that winter, which was, and the winter was the 90 days that we're actually going to be working for what we've already been paid for. But
so just to add context to that, we had a marketing offer. Our service is essentially building out social media advertising funnels. And so our offer that we sold a bunch of in August was a one-time payment to build out a company's funnel over the course of a month, and then 90 days of active management. Sounded great in the moment, sold a bunch of them, and then realized that kind of resulted in us doing a lot more work during that 90 days than what we initially had thought of. And I think it goes back to just lack of foresight and planning. And heard this quote from the great Nate Irvin in one of the local networking groups the other day. Nobody ever plans to fail, they just fail to plan. And I think we were victims of that.
And that was just another learning of the business. It didn't, we kept up with what we needed to deliver on, and we still have all of those clients, which is great, and are getting results for them. So, it's all worked out. But we turned off the sales faucet because we had all of this to deliver. And then we were like, oh no. And at the same time, getting married and having a honeymoon, which did not help the situation. So But yeah, like we've still made it through and are making bringing on some new clients that are really cool too. Like all of our clients are so cool.
Yeah, we do have the coolest clients in the world.
Yeah, like that's one thing that I love so much about Harmony is that we work with super cool people that do really cool things.
Yeah. You're not allowed to be a Harmony Marketing client unless you're cool.
Yeah.
So, hint, hint. Okay. So I think the lesson there is never completely turn off your sales pipeline, even when you don't think you need to be making sales.
Even when you're really busy.
Even when you're really busy, at least have some flow coming in. Never fully turn off the faucet.
And just having conversations, because even if they're not ready to buy today, you never know where that's going to lead down the road. Because also recently, I mean, you had some calls back in August, July, which have recently turned into new clients for us in December.
Literally. Actually, yeah. So, I was running all those ads in August, and there were two people in particular that, like, I talked to, things were great, but they just didn't move forward. Timing wasn't right. And then, fast forward 4 months later, ended up signing one on Friday, and then very likely to sign another one today. And so that's actually a really good lesson too, which is the fact that in any given marketplace, in any industry, about 3% of the total population of that market is going to be ready to buy from you right now. There's the whole 97% that are potential clients, but the timing isn't right.
Yeah.
They're not in enough pain. They don't have enough information. Whatever it is, they're just not ready to move forward right now. And so many marketers, and we've done this in the past, so many marketers and business owners make the mistake of only ever marketing to the 3% and capturing those people that are ready to buy now, but they're leaving so much money and so many opportunities on the table by not focusing on that 97% and nurturing them through things like organic content, emails, texts, promotions, just reaching out, namely content though. And so they only, they wonder why their advertising isn't making them more money, but it's because they're so focused on a short-term gain and not playing the long game.
Right.
And so it's like, market to everybody and just try to meet people where they're at, and don't try to treat the 97% as if they are ready to buy right now. Just be, have your immediate conversion focused marketing for the 3%, but then have your longer term trust building for the other, the rest of the population.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another lesson that I think you could speak really well to. Knowing your numbers. We've started doing regular bi-weekly financial review meetings. Why are we doing that? Why is it important to know your numbers as a small business owner?
Well,
you're so beautiful.
Aw. This is multiple times a day, every day.
Multiple is the understatement of the century.
Yeah.
It's like dozens.
Yeah. More than 10. But, well, so we have one tomorrow, and there's a lot to report on. But now it's again, comes back to accountability. I'm accountable every 2 weeks to report to you on how we're looking with our finances. And then we then look at how we're doing with our sales and what expenses we have coming up. And whenever we really started looking at our numbers, we were paying for so many subscriptions that we did not need.
Yeah.
And I think, too, you come from a place of abundance, but you don't just pay for subscriptions that you don't need.
No.
So, you just have to know your numbers. And then knowing your numbers, you're able to make, again, it comes back to clarity, too, making clear decisions based on them. Because if you're just, running on what feels good, you may end up somewhere that you don't want to end up.
As we've been learning recently, diving into profit first and just being more aware of our finances, our numbers, I think we've realized a lot of business owners, ourselves included in the past, can easily assume that they're in a much better financial position than they actually are, because most business owners operate with one bank account, and when there's money in the bank, things are good, and when there's not, things are bad. And it's like you don't have an accurate picture of the landscape of your finances and where money's going that way. maybe could you share like what are some of the key numbers that we're looking at in those meetings and that any small business owners should be looking at on a regular basis?
Yeah. So one of them is our recurring revenue. So how much are we looking at bringing in for the month? Our recurring revenue is, we have a monthly number that we expect to bring in, but it's not always that exact number because of where clients fall. And, if we have clients that it's dependent. So every 2 weeks looking at, okay, for the next 2 weeks till the end of the month or till the middle of the month, how many more invoices are we set to send out? And then based on that, looking at our expenses, our biggest one being payroll, but taking payroll.
I think it's many businesses' largest expense.
Yeah, applying it to what you're going to be bringing in and then seeing, okay, do we have anything left over or do we not? And I think, it's a balance. And I think that's another great thing a reason why we work so well together is you're really good at finding ways to increase our income, and I'm really good at cutting expenses.
Yes.
And
I think that is a really beautiful dichotomy that we have where, like, my default reaction to improving our financial standing is I can go out and I can go hunt for our dinner right now. I can go out and make us some more sales because my mindset defaults to, I'll just go make more money. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And then your default is, where can we be more frugal?
We need to get a refund.
Where can we cut expenses? And so it's great because then I go out to make more money and you go to cut expenses, and then we're like, it's a great dynamic.
Yeah.
Because I've learned listening to one of my favorite podcasts, Founders by David Senra. It's a podcast about, he dives into the biographies of some of history's greatest entrepreneurs, and one of the recurring themes across all of history's greatest entrepreneurs is that they control costs. They know what they're expending and they keep an eye on it. And I feel like you're so good at keeping me in check with that. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I won't let anyone do our bookkeeping either, is that I want to be looking at our numbers religiously. And I want to know what every line is and where it's coming from. And so giving that up is just not worth it to me. I want to know where everything's going. But I would say, so knowing where our recurring revenue, what we're looking to bring in, and then based on our expenses, which are pretty much, we can get I have a pretty clear idea of what all expenses we're going to be incurring for the next 2 weeks, because we have our meetings every 2 weeks. So what's that difference? How much do we want to, how many sales do we need to make up for the difference if there is a difference? And then you typically add on to that and set the goal much higher. But now I kind of wanted to ask you to share what you were sharing with me last night about pay for the creativity?
Paying for things according to your creativity.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do my best not to butcher this because this is still a novel concept to me that I learned just over this past weekend from listening to Myron Golden, who has been absolutely transforming the way that I'm thinking about life and business and my relationship with God and how that affects every part of my being. So this idea from Myron Golden is that buying a water bottle versus buying, let me back up. Everything costs the same amount. Whether it's buying a water bottle, buying a plant, buying a shoe, buying an island, buying luxury clothing, whatever it is, in his mind, the way that he thinks about things, everything costs the same because he's not paying for things with his money. Like, yes, he's paying for things with money, obviously, but it's the way that he views the creation, or not even the creation, it's the way that he views how money flows to him that makes everything cost the same. So his idea is that he pays for things according to his creativity. So take a more normal person maybe somebody who's working a job, or even a lot of business owners are totally stuck in the trap of trading time for money. Like until you've effectively removed yourself from your business, like you're still trading your time for money. And so, imagine, the example that he used in this podcast I was listening to is Myron Golden and Ryan Pineda. He was talking about how, imagine you want to buy a $100,000 car. And say you're working a job and you make $100,000 a year. And so ultimately that car costs you a year of your life. And the way that most people, think about this, like when you're trading time for money, you are taking an infinitely valuable, extremely scarce resource, time. You can't get more of it. And there is really no price tag that you can put on even a moment of time. Once it's gone, it's just gone. So you're taking time, your most valuable asset, and then you're trading that for something that is less valuable and is much more infinitely abundant, which is money. Less valuable because money is typically constantly inflating in value, and purchasing power is decreasing, and you can, more money is being created all the time, where you can't create more time. And so you're taking an infinitely valuable resource, trading it for a less valuable resource, and then to purchase something like a car, you're taking this less valuable resource and then trading it for an even less valuable asset, which is like a depreciating hunk of metal that is a car.
I think I saw, is it like Jeff Bezos or no? I don't know, one really famous CEO. He was driving the same car that he had been driving even whenever he was like a multi-millionaire. Same car that he's been driving for the past 10 years, still driving it.
Well, I'm really glad that we did this. This is the first podcast of many to come. I hope somebody out there gained some value from this conversation. And, I think just sharing our story, sharing the things we're learning along the way, the mistakes that we're making, hopefully that's going out and helping somebody in their journey. So would very much appreciate if you commented if there was something valuable that you gained from this video, and let us know what that is. Anyways, this is Branden Clay and Lexi Clay from Harmony Marketing out, and we will see you next time.